He'd been swimming, then rowing and canoeing for a long time, but he only started getting up on world podiums once he'd switched to dragon boat racing. The domestic club Dragon Boat World Championship at Obolon Embankment in Kyiv has become a place of triumph for Ukrainian teams. Representatives of Ukrainian clubs have won a total of 38 gold awards. A rower from Cherkasy, Artem Ishchenko, took part in this success with his team, Dragon Boat Club. Find out what motivates him in this exotic sport, how important teamwork is in dragon boat racing, and when Ukrainians will begin defeating its founding fathers, the Chinese, in this episode of The Cost of Victory. September 2019 became the starting point for dragon boat racing reaching a new level in Ukraine. The Dragon Boat Club World Cup was held here for the first time. 30 teams from 15 countries, but the best scores are that of Ukrainian clubs, among which the top position was taken by Kyiv Oblast-based club DBC. Artem Ishchenko, a red-haired citizen of Cherkasy, set the pace in the race. It is actually much easier to race at home because, first of all, we don't fly anywhere, so we don't have to deal with jet lag. Everything is familiar here. The water you're used to, so there is responsibility. Because you realize that you're at home after all, and they came here, they have this thing, they face these difficulties, and you're at home. So you must show the best results, show that you're the boss at home. Artem became interested in sports as a child. At first it was swimming, which he did until he turned 10. Then a friend invited him to a canoeing club. His dreams of world podiums remained dreams, because after graduating from school, Artem had to choose between education and sports. He enrolled in Kyiv Polytechnic Institute, so combining sports with study became difficult. First of all, there was the fact that I would study at KPI, and I realized that my studies would be a priority for me. I tried to continue training, but the commute to the channel was 2 hours there and 2 hours back, so I'd go training right after classes, and then I'd have no time left for homework. I had to choose between education and sports. But Artem did not forget about rowing during his studies. When he was in his third year, a coach from Cherkasy suggested to him that he help his hometown club with a new sport for the Ukrainian rower – dragon boat racing. For me, dragon boat racing is a continuation of sports activity in my life. Earlier on, I was involved in canoeing, which I had to give up because of university. And now I'm really glad that I returned to rowing, specifically dragon boat racing, as it helps me stay fit and do what I enjoy. Even though Artem Ishchenko continues doing rowing, which is his favorite, there are plenty of differences between dragon boat racing and canoeing. Dragon boats have large crews, where you're just a tiny piece of a big mechanism. Canoeing was easier and simpler for him. Of course, I knew that no one could do it for me. It's the same here, you know that you must always give it your all. But teamwork is very important here, because if you bring together a team of the strongest rowers who can't work as a team, it won't help them much. The full-time coach of Ukrainian national dragon boat team from the same city as Artem, Katerina Kovalenko, convinced him to join his current club DBC. Artem Ishchenko was accepted as one of their own right away in the new team and quickly paved his way to the national team. He showed himself to be a strong team player. He takes on leadership responsibilities. He takes charge of and organizes the necessary processes. Because if you're an organizer, you must take responsibility. And Artem is ready to be responsible for the decisions he makes. So the team trusts him, even though he hasn't been on the team that long. Indeed, the DBC club has been developing for quite a long time, and it already has traditions of its own. But Artem fits these traditions very well. He keeps our team spirits up, he sets the team up for success, and we can see good results. Before the Club World Cup in Kyiv, Artem was chasing medals in Pattaya, Thailand, as part of the Ukrainian national dragon boat team. The Ukrainian team finished one step away from the podium in 4th place, but the team began to believe that they could win world medals in the near future. We're actually getting very close to them. For example, in Thailand, we improved our position with each day, and in the end, we finished 4th on the last day. I think we got as close as possible to the Asians and Americans, so I think if we work just a little bit harder, we'll be able to compete with them.
Я думаю, что еще немножко нам дожать, и мы сможем составлять им конкуренцию на пьедесталах.
And Ukrainian rowers know how to organize the training process and set goals for themselves in dragon boat racing. It is currently one of the strongest nations in this sport in Europe. Its next goal is to win the World Championships in dragon boat racing. We aren't as good as the Asian countries, but we're the strongest in Europe. It's sad, but I believe that we will definitely be in the top 3 at the next World Cup because we're reducing the gap to first place with each championship. While earlier it was a distance of several seconds, today they have to determine the winner by a photo finish. Only photos could help to determine if someone from Asia managed to slip their nose in first. Dragon boat racing is a kind of rowing that originated in China over 2,000 years ago. It was just for fun at first, but later they started using dragon boats for racing. You won't surprise anyone in the world with dragon taming rituals, but people in Asian countries attach great importance to this. They believe that if you feed the dragon and give it water before a race, it will help you get better results in the race.
I
haven't seen anyone do this so fanatically here, but it looked very interesting at the World Cup in Thailand. It really does improve team spirit, and I think it even works as a psychological attack against other teams, in that they'll think they did this, but we didn't. So it's a unique feature of dragon boat racing.
Каждый подумает, а мы не сделали этого, а они сделали, и, возможно, это своя фишка, как бы, драгонбота.
Artem does not really believe in superstitions before a race. He says that they won't prevent a strong team from winning and won't really help a weak one. But rival dragon boat teams very often have rituals they perform before a race, which are not always connected to taming the dragon. I'm not at all superstitious. There are athletes who try to paddle through the course and overtake all the other boats by getting in front of them, as if to cut them off.
Идут по крайней воде, они идут не объезжают все лодки, опережают всем.
There's a superstition that doing this will help them and make it harder for us, but I don't believe in any of that.
Помешает нам, но я в это все не верю.
And even though Ukrainian dragon boat racers are confidently improving their results on the water and increasing the level of organization of competitions themselves, they continue to look up to the founders of this exotic sport, the Chinese. There, in the East, they treat dragon boat racing like a religion. They're fanatical about this sport. The concept of dragons is very symbolic for them. So in China, a lot of people come to even watch the training for competitions. Like 40,000 people just come to watch.
Приходит даже просто, если там смотреть по Китаю, то даже на тренировки вот перед соревнованиями приходит порядка там 40 тысяч человек просто посмотреть.
Dragon boat competitions are like a holiday to them.
Для них это праздник.
Among his role models, Artem singles out the German canoeist Sebastian Brendel. He won 2 championship titles at the last Olympics in Rio de Janeiro in the 1,000 and 2,000 meter races. Before that, he was the best at the London 2012 Olympics and won 12 titles at World Championships. How can he not be an example to follow? When I was into canoeing, Sebastian Brendel was my role model. He's still canoeing, and he's been taking the top positions in canoeing for the past 10 years. So he was my role model, and I still consider him a very good athlete because he's completely devoted to this sport. He devoted his life to it, which is worthy of respect. Artem likes watching the Olympics and roots for Ukrainian athletes. He no longer dreams about participating in the Olympics, at least until dragon boat racing becomes an Olympic sport. He dreams of championship titles specifically in dragon boat racing. He's gradually turning from a single athlete, like he used to be in canoeing, into a strong team player in dragon boat racing. But he does not understand and accept everything.
Зачастую в командных соревнованиях команда всегда пытается найти...
In team competitions, the team often tries to find a scapegoat, and you're also part of this team, and you also take part in that. That's what I don't like about dragon boat racing. In canoeing, everything depends on you alone. So if you neglect to practice something, it will affect your results in competitions. And here you can work and train as hard as you want. But if just one team member doesn't train, the team will lose because of them.
Из-за него там команда проигрывает.
Teams work diligently at training sessions to ensure coordinated work in the boat at competitions. Everything is tied to the result, so there must be a well-coordinated team in the boat. Artem is an oarsman in the front row. He's one of the crewmen who set the pace of the vessel by performing the commands of the cogs and syncing with the rhythm of the drummer. If at least one crew member fails to do their job, the result won't be a good one. We'll lose hundreds and thousands of seconds and then lose to the other teams. So there's a lot of responsibility on everyone. In any case, there must be a person who leads the team and bears responsibility for the decisions made. In our case, it's the cogs, because the cogs controls the process in the main. Those in front of him are the oarsmen, who set the rhythm. Artem Ishchenko specialized in both short and long distances in dragon boat racing. He can be useful in both 10-man and 20-man boats. He participates in all of them, but does not like all the distances.
Я люблю все дистанции, кроме 200.
I like all distances except the 200 meters, which I brought over from canoeing. I've never done 200-meter distances in canoeing. I always tried to do 1,000 meters. I loved doing long distances like 8 or 10 kilometers. And now my favorite distances in dragon boat racing are 1,000 meters and 2,000 meters.
И 2000.
1 kilometer courses give an opportunity to show one's skill and strength, and at distances twice as long, turning plays a much more important role. Here, those who lose less time turning win.
1000 мне нравится тем, что...
I like 1,000-meter courses because it's a long distance, which lets you give it your all. I like the 2,000-meter courses because you can win or lose depending on how well you turn.
Ты можешь или выиграть, проходя поворот, ты можешь или выиграть, или проиграть.
I think that on the 2,000-meter courses, the real fight takes place at the turns. Those who do well on the corners are usually those who win. The national team coach can see Artem in the boat in any discipline. He only needs to have enough strength. There is no doubting that he will not fail the team. Artem is a universal athlete because he can sense the 200, 500 and 2,000-meter courses. We talked with him, and he said he could keep up the same pace for all 2,000 meters if it's necessary. He says he only needs his team to support him, and that's true because we train together. He performs all the commands really well. If the cox says to do something in a specific way, he'll do it exactly the way he says. If we see that we need to change the boat speed, make it go faster, he says, okay, we'll do it. Obviously, not during the races, we practice this during training. And what he definitely has in abundance is leadership qualities. In addition to male crews, Artem competes in mixed ones too. By the way, the mixed crew of Dragon Boat Club finished second at the Club World Cup. You work just as hard in both, it's just that rowing with girls is slower, but you work equally as hard. The phenomenal result of Ukrainian clubs at the World Cup held in Ukraine is no surprise to the national team coach. The level of competition for membership of the national team of Ukraine is high. There are many candidates to choose from because more and more athletes are doing dragon boat racing in Ukraine. Those countries that participate today cannot compete with Ukraine because we have very strong rowers, which is all down to people like Artem. Someone has got to unite people. Despite the fact that the boat crew is a team, there must be a leader. The cox must be our leader, the drummer must be the voice of the cox, and there must be a leader in the team whom they trust and support. Artem is the one they support. He liked exact sciences like chemistry, physics, and most of all maths and algebra at school. That's why he enrolled at KPI after finishing secondary school. He liked reading literature on psychology. He once read the book The Psychology of Winning that his coach recommended to him. It taught Artem Ishchenko how to train properly for competitions and what one's thoughts should be during tournaments.
Если ты едешь на соревнования, тебе нужно отдаваться соревнованиям. Не нужно заниматься ничем.
If you're going to attend competitions, you need to devote yourself to competitions. You must not do anything unrelated. The book describes really well how to train your mind for a race. It's a good book that helped me understand that if you've come to a competition, then you're there for the competition, and it doesn't matter what happens after.
Если ты приехал на соревнования, то ты приехал на соревнования. И неважно, что там. Все остальное должно быть после.
One of the fans who always supports Artem Ishchenko at competitions and training sessions is his pet, a Jack Russell Terrier called Zara. She's active and restless, just like her owner. Many people complain about this breed for being restless home destroyers. But surprisingly enough, our dog is very calm and likes to sleep when at home.
Она очень спокойная дома. А когда выходим на улицу,
But when we go outside, all this energy wakes up in her, and she has lots of it. If she sees another dog, she becomes unstoppable and can play for hours on end. But she is very obedient and performs all commands at home.
дома все хорошо, слушается, выполняет команды.
Artem Ishchenko also performs all the orders given by the cogs in the boat. It so happened that he did his previous sports in 5 years blocks, 5 years in swimming, then 5 years in rowing and canoeing. He's in his 5th year of active training in dragon boat racing, but judging by the results at international races, Artem Ishchenko will remain in dragon boat racing for many years to come.